I'm joined today by my guest, Sachi from i4T Global. How are you doing?
Awesome. Thanks for having me, David.
It's a pleasure. I know that we're communicating from opposite ends of the globe at the moment, and it's very exciting for us that i4T Global are bringing one of Australia's best loved products and brands over to the UK. When it comes to property management in general, your enjoyment of how much you enjoy managing properties as an agent is usually directly proportional to the amount of compliance you have to wade through and accounts you have to wade through. But if you have supportive software and platforms that allow you to do it in a synced up, simultaneous manner, that can always help. That's where you guys come in, right?
Absolutely.
So give us a little bit of background to i4T Global and the sort of things that you do today.
Yeah, so thanks a lot for having me, David. And we are really excited to bring our well-established ecosystem from Australia all the way to UK and to work with Kerfuffle in this venture. So i4T Global is a highly disruptive field service management ecosystem. And we primarily cater to estate agents, trade suppliers, as well as the residents and the owners with an end-to-end digital ecosystem. And the pillars of the platform is we provide the best of efficiency, transparency, compliance, and safety while creating this ecosystem.
So my understanding of it is that your system is sort of broken down into three main components that allow day-to-day management to take place really smoothly. It allows people to allocate jobs, obtain multiple quotes for the same job. So these are things that hitherto took us all a lot of time because we had to duplicate tasks, and it wasn't that, and the reporting on it wasn't amazing. Whereas you've given me a quick whiz through your dashboard this morning, and it's ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you it's all there and you can see it, and it's all easy to use. But where did this evolve from? Was it something that you had studied for a while and thought there's a gap in the market for it?
I had to take you back in time. Now we started it not to the full scale as we have it today. We started it very small, like any startup would start. The vision was to bridge the gap between a consumer and a trade service provider. Because if you take a normal example, imagine you are requesting for an electrician to come and fix your hot water system. And he or she might say, I'll turn up around 10:30 in the morning. And sometimes that person comes around 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And you have no transparency. So you're waiting, and you're helpless but to wait for this person with special expertise. So there's a lot of value we can add to the consumer side. So we came up with the i4Tradies idea to bridge this gap. And so that initial idea was talking about the B2C side of it. That's from the one-to-one relationship between a consumer or someone who's residing at a property and the person who can come and fix their problem. So the one with the problem and the one who can fix the problem. And then with time, what we figured is, David, there are people who have this problem at scale.
Yes.
And they are estate agents who have number of tenants, number of residents, number of owners having this problem being repeated. So for these estate agents, this problem is at a scale. So we wanted to now expand our B2C product offering into a B2B, B2C, and a B2B2C ecosystem. And that's the journey we took over the last 3 years, where we entered into this estate agents offering, and it's been an amazing hit.
It's great because I think the bits of tech that work best for estate agents are those that was started, if you like, with the end beneficiary in mind. So you took a look at this and you look at it from the sort of householder's point of view, or the person that's actually sat at home waiting for that tradesman to arrive. And yet, yes, estate agents are part of that process, but it's always nice to have a tool that not only benefits you as an agent, but actually enhances the level of customer experience that the end users have, which are obviously tenants, that, you know, buyers, sellers, whoever it may be. But this is fantastic, isn't it?
Absolutely. Another thing we figured is the initial problem was very simple. It's about bringing transparency to the table. It's about we are in the generation where everything is instantaneous. So we expect an Uber-like experience, even when you order a taxi to a pizza. So why can't we do this when you're requesting for a service from a tradesperson? And that was the whole idea. So we build our ecosystem on the Google Cloud architecture, and is run based on these location-based algorithms. And then we figured there's a lot more value we can add than just providing transparency. Because then we went into areas like compliance management, safety, efficiency of a estate agency, and it evolved to another level along the way.
So I want to talk to you about compliance management for a second, because I think it's a very important, often overlooked area of our jobs. Because yes, we can raise work orders for contractors to go out and look at things, but in terms of compliance, I don't know what it's like over there in Australia, but over here in the UK, our inbox in terms of compliance obligations is just growing and growing and growing. And it seems that every week there is a new element of legislation or compliance management that we need to sort of get our hands dirty with. And it can be overwhelming to keep a track of it all. And not keeping a track of it can lead to two things: either serious legal problems for the agent, or people get harmed, because, you know, we're talking about people's lives here and its safety. So this really it was an overlooked element, but it can't be any more important than it is today.
You're spot on, David. In fact, it's both. It's legal implications as well as safety, both at the same time. Now, as you mentioned, we are heading the right direction. Each state and each government around the world is trying to enforce more and more these compliances, which is a good thing. But the reality is we are not there yet. So when these compliances are being mandated now here in Australia, each state has its own legislated compliance criteria, from the state of Queensland to New South Wales to Victoria, otherwise. So we built a platform where it can even go to the state level, your individual postal code level, and identify which compliances are required specifically in this area. And not only the area, we even go to the classifications. For an electrician, it can be one criteria. For a plumber, it can be another. And also based on the size of the job. They can even put a value cap. If the job is over, let's say, £5,000, then there comes a new criteria all of a sudden. You need these compliances from the trades. And maintaining that is a nightmare to the estate agents. And even the human error can result in a damaging circumstance for the brand, as well as the safety concerns for people involved. And that's what we solve with our compliance management module.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting, because, you know, very often we love to talk about the UK being one global happy family, but the truth is, when it comes to management of properties particularly, there are pockets of the country that operate differently. So Wales, for instance, has a very different legislation and ecosystem to the UK. And so the ability for an agent to be able to set those compliance standards per region and manage properties in both areas, if you like, but have different notifications turned on for those areas would be really, really useful. So I can see how that's going to advantage a lot of UK users. From your point of view at the moment, who would you say your typical user profile is? Are we talking about large property management businesses, or is it also suitable for sort of single office operators? What does it look like at the moment?
Our platform actually has the flexibility to be modularized and be customized. So that's one thing we wanted to make sure from the get-go. David, because end of the day, this problem is there across the board, whether you are a large estate agency with, let's say, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of properties, or you have a handful of maybe 10 or 50 with you. Still, the problem is the same. Right? Yeah. Just that, the problem instances are of a higher magnitude if you have a large portfolio of properties to manage. So it's the platform is designed to cater to any size of an organization and any type of an organization. Having said that, due to the intensity of the compliances as well as these problems coming at a scale, larger the organization, better suitable the product is. That's what we have seen.
Okay, so what you're saying is it's a really scalable product, regardless. I mean, you can start small and grow big, but it comes into its own when it goes big, and you're able to sort of manage multiple units from one dashboard and one place across all your offices.
Absolutely. In fact, we have seen examples where our i4T maintenance platform has become the reason for some organizations, some agencies to grow faster. And these stories we keep hearing, and it's amazing to hear these success stories, because what they keep on mentioning and coming back to us and giving these testimonials about is highlighting, if not for our ecosystem, they had to have large number of power allocated to this. And that's tricky. And that increases the cost significantly, because employing compliance management teams, employing a large number of property managers, it's not easy for a small to medium estate agency. If you're a large organization, yes, you can. But how do you become a large organization? You have to start somewhere small. So some people do get stuck in these places. And our ecosystem has become the launch pad, so to say, to some of these agencies for them to grow faster than even they would have believed that they could.
So I can see this is it's going to cause some disruption in that property maintenance management space that we have here in the UK. What would you say are the three sort of main USPs for lettings agents that are watching this today?
One of the most important is this caters to an end-to-end ecosystem when it comes to repairs and maintenance. So it's not just a single component that's trying to squeeze into your operation. It captures from A to Z. And that's something that is one of the biggest advantages we have. And on top of it, we have built the ecosystem to run on the pillars of transparency, efficiency, compliance, and safety. So we call them, these are our 4 tenets. What I mean by transparency is, now when i4T Global Ecosystem deploys to its all verticals, where the estate agents start using i4T maintenance, and their suppliers, the trades, start using the i4T business vertical, as well as, in fact, I need to highlight this part. The estate agents have another trick up on the sleeve, because our end user vertical, the tenant product, mobile application, can be white labeled. And that is very powerful. Okay. Now think of an estate agency by the name ABC. By tomorrow, they can launch this Apple App Store, Google Play Store powered iOS, iPhone, Android app under their brand to provide to their residents, to their tenants, to their landlords. So it becomes a brand extension for them. So this is one of the most powerful USPs we have.
That's a great enhancement to that. We talk about customer experience being important. And if you look at reviews and how people react to the service that they're getting, it is that experience. It's anything that can make their life easier, anything that allows them to sort of have that autonomy where, if they're holding their phone in their hand, they can actually call the shots and have an element of control. And if you get anxiety within that sort of property management space, it's normally from uncertainty, because people don't know what's happening, what's meant to happen next, what's happening now, and what was I meant to do and what are you meant to do. And you're going to give them a snapshot from the palm of the hand of everything that's going on, and they feel like they've been involved in that process themselves. I think that's a great boost to customer service.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the right word. It's giving the power back to the consumer, that end user, because you are never in the dark, David. If you are a tenant, if you are a resident, or even if you're an owner, you know what's going on at your property. You just pull out that phone from your pocket and you see what kind of maintenance repairs they're going through. And if there's someone who's going to attend to your property in 5 minutes time, you get these alerts. You can even track them just like you're tracking an Uber or a pizza, so to say, and it becomes highly empowering.
Talk to me about your charging model and how your charging structure is set up at the moment.
Yeah, so we had two pricing models because, again, the reason for having two pricing models is because we cater to the small to medium as well as to the larger sizes of estate agents. So one of the simplest pricing model we have, the starting pricing model is £1 per property per month. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So if you have 100 properties, you pay £100 a month. But the larger the organization, larger the estate agency, imagine if you're having hundreds of thousands of properties, this becomes a bit too expensive. So for them, we have introduced this volume-based, transaction-based pricing model as well. So now we, as a second pricing model, we start charging based on the number of service requests, the number of quote requests issued by the property manager, and the number of work orders that they have issued. And that also is run by a table where it is driven by the economy of scale. The higher the number of transactions you have, lesser the per transaction value you pay. So these are the two pricing models we have.
Well, that sounds, it sounds very fair in terms of having a manageable structure that's very transparent from day one for smaller agencies, and something that has flexibility for people managing property portfolios at scale. So you're catering to both audiences, so that's great. Obviously, all of your details can be found on kerfuffle.com, but if agents want to sort of get to know you and your solutions a little bit better, I presume the next step would be for them to jump on a call with you and for you to take them through a demo. Roughly speaking, how long does that take normally?
We can do a demo within 15 to 20 minutes. But what happens is we have seen these demos that we have scheduled for 15 to 20 minutes, but the estate agents get really excited. Sometimes we even carry on after the demo for another half an hour to 1 hour, because we are more than happy to allocate that time if they love to dig a little deeper and have that conversation and that chat. But in short, 15 to 20 minutes is more than enough to get the glimpse.
It's a good sign that you're smashing it, because you know, agents won't hang around on a call for long if they're not enjoying it.
They are busy people.
Getting value out of it, I think it's superb. Thank you very, very much, Sachi, for taking the time to talk to us about this today, and we look forward to seeing great things happen.
It's my absolute pleasure having you here, David. Thank you very much for having me.